You can build whatever board you can imagine out there. Infinite negates, full field zone lock, 5 card hand loops. There will almost always be a way to break it, no matter how low the probability is. But you can't do anything if you don't have a turn. Greetings, Rigil Agateiades here, and today our opponent is not going to have fun if they didn't draw any hand traps. The deck we are playing is the Tellarknights, and with their extra deck monster, Tellarknight Ptolemaeus, we can directly skip our opponent's turn and finish them without letting our opponent play at all. Turn skipping isn't anything new to the game. People have been making combos to summon Arcana Force 21 Duel and skip turns since God knows when. But the Tellarknights do that all while playing like a normal deck. To make things worse, all you need is a lot of XC materials. The card that is at fault for skipping the opponent's turn is the long banned card Tellarknight Ptolemaeus. Recently turning to a limited status, interestingly enough, turn skipping isn't what it got banned for. The reason it was banned was a release of another eventually banned card, and is rightfully still banned today, Outer Entity as a Thought. Now that we are in the wonderful times where Azeroth is rightfully banned, and with Ptolemaeus at 1, we can rightfully skip our opponent's turn by bringing out 5 level 4 monsters and a spell. Let's go through the combo first before going over the deck profile. As I have mentioned before, all we need to skip our opponent's turn is to make a 7-mat Ptolemaeus, which can be done with any 5 level 4 monsters on the field plus the Constellar spell. The least number of cards needed to do this is 1 Deneb and 1 Liren, but as long as you can reach 5 monsters and the spell, anything goes. Literally any level 4 monsters. Starting with a Deneb normal summon, this will trigger both Deneb and Liren's effect. With Deneb's effect, we can add any Tellarknight monster from the deck to the hand. We'll add Unukauhai. I don't know how to read that. And then with Liren's effect, we can add a Tellarknight Skybridge. Now, Tellarknight Skybridge is a useful card not only because it summons any Tellarknight monster from our deck, but also because it is a quick play spell, allowing us to shuffle back whatever is being targeted and dodge Imperms or Veilers. Now, with 2 level 4 monsters on the field, we can make the new XC monster Caduceus, which does a lot of work in this deck now. Use its effect to copy Sheraton from the deck, and then add the main deck Caduceus to the hand. With the Caduceus from the main deck, we can use its own effect to summon itself, and then add the continuous spell Constellar Tellarknights. This spell is important because we need to make a 7-mat Ptolemaeus with only 5 monster zones. Now that's done, we can use Tellarknight Skybridge to summon Veiga from the deck. Be careful, as long as Veiga is on the field, we are locked to summoning Tellarknight monsters. Not even Constellar monsters are allowed, which is why we have to summon Caduceus first. With Veiga, we can summon Unuk from their hand, and then with Unuk's effect, we send out Terran to the graveyard. Now we have 3 monsters, 2 more to go. Activate Constellar Tellarknights, and we can bring back the Neb from the grave. And then trigger out Terran from the graveyard as well, and boom, we have 5 monsters plus the spell. Final steps, overlay all 5 monsters into Caduceus again. And this will trigger Caduceus' first effect to add back 2 cards from the grave to the hand, to add back the Skybridge and the Liren as well. This is important because this guarantees us enough damage to OTK the opponent on turn 3, which is basically an extension of our first turn. Now we can summon Constellar Ptolemy M7 with its own effect. The M7 it is named simply means the 7th material to us. And then finally we can activate the continuous spell's effect to overlay M7 into Ptolemaeus. With that, that's our combo. Activate Ptolemaeus' effect, and our opponent will have no turn. or Monarch CPU being abused by people like me to test their decks. Here we don't have to do anything and we just end our turn. Due to the card's effect, turn is skipped. Ooh. Now, skipping our opponent's turn is not enough. We have to do lethal to win the game. But with this combo, we already guaranteed to have all the resources needed to do so. First, we use the continuous spell to turn Ptolemaeus into Constellar Pleiades. This triggers our Terran's effect in the grave, so we summon him as well. Be careful, his effect locks us into attacking only with XC monsters. We can use Pleiades' effect to return the continuous spell to the hand. Then we can activate it again. And as we activate the continuous spell, we get to summon a monster from the grave. This time we will summon M7. Now, we normal summon the Liren as well, and we can make a rank 4 XC to deal the remaining 3000 damage. What monster will I use here to deal 3000 damage? There are many options: Heroic Champion Excalibur, Heroic Champion Clave Solish, Utopia the Lightning, and even Blade Armor Ninja can work. But no, the one we're summoning is Gagaga Samurai. Compared to all the better cards aforementioned, we make Gagaga Samurai because he is overwhelmingly cheaper. 2,500, 2,700, 1,900, and another 1,900 by attacking twice with Gagaga Samurai's effect. That is 9,000 damage, and our opponent can do nothing but throw hand traps. That brings us to the reason why this deck is not running about. Everyone plays hand traps, and just this morning I have been nipped twice. Turn skipping is a really good bonus, but that's not something you can rely on. Of course, a deck that can only turn skip isn't good enough, so let's take a look at what else we can do. Sadly, this deck has a grand total of 0 1-card starters, so we have to start with at least 2 cards. Good thing Caduceus is just a generic rank 4, so we don't care what level 4 extenders we use. Now back to the basic combo with the simplest functioning hand. Any Tellarknight or Constellar monster plus an extender. The first step is always to make Caduceus, so we'll do that. Normal summon Deneb, and let's say it gets ashed or impermed or anything like that. Make Caduceus, and just like our turn skip combo, we can go and copy Sheraton's effect from the deck and add the main deck Caduceus to our hand. We already drilled a Caduceus though, so we will go and copy and search something else. Let's search Liren. Be careful, you have to detach the Tellarknight or Constellar material here, otherwise we don't have anything to Monster Reborn later. Summon the Caduceus, and then add the continuous spell, only activate Constellar Tellarknights, and then bring back the Deneb we detached. And that is pretty much the combo. From here we have to pick what to do based on the opponent. Because this is the 5th summon, we will find out at this point whether our opponent has a nib or not. If we smell like going for a nib, we can go and summon Rafflesia with just the 2 level 4 monsters. And with this, we can just send Gravedigger's Trap Hole when they activate nib, or if it's a cash player, we can use Floodgate Trap Hole to make them cry. If we don't need that, we can also make any other rank 4 we want. Then with the continuous spell, we can also make any Constellar or Tellarknight monster in the extra deck. Constellar Diamond is a really good floodgate against things like Tears, but usually we summon Pleiades to bounce our continuous spell for next turn, just like our turn skip combo. And then if you have Alteran in the grave, you can also make M7 first. And then, since it's no longer level 4 that we have on the field, we can use the continuous spell to rank down into Tellarknight Ptolemaeus. Now, Ptolemaeus can summon any of the aforementioned XC from the extra deck during our opponent's turn, so it will never be wrong. And if we have Alteran in the grave, it will also trigger for a pop and further disruptions. That's it with both the ideal and the more realistic combos. Now we move on to the card choices. Free Liren, as she is both the extender and the starter, Unuk and Deneb are both part of our starter set, so we need 3 of each, although if you don't want to rely on turn skipping, you can cut down on them. Remember, any extra Tellarknight monster in the hand is a brick. Then for our extenders, we picked the Zexo package, because firstly they are cheap and secondly they give us a better ability to go second, which is our weak point. With the rank up magic, we can use any rank 4 to make Utopia Ray, so it's not a brick in the hand too. The rest are just combo pieces. Extra deck. 1 each of every Tellarknight monster other than Shriver, 1 M7 and a Pleiades. Almost all of them are Yugiohs, which is why I'm in such a terrible state. Leo Utopia Ray is from the structure deck, saved me from bankruptcy, and Traptrix Rafflesia is used to stop the Meteor Strike. Finally, we are topping it up with a rare Gagaga Samurai to finish our opponent. That's it with the deck profile. Now let's move on to some actual dueling. A new month, new ranked season, and a new deck. Somehow we lost the coin flip and we are still going first. That is a miracle, because if we have to go second, I think we are plentifully screwed. Oh dear, our opponent has a really thick deck there. Now let's see if our hand can skip their turn. Our opponent has no turn. What a way to start a day. Please don't improv here. Detach 7. And that's his turn skipped. We just press end turn here, and it's our turn miraculously. We'll start with Ptolemaeus. Actually, we haven't even finished our turn. Just tucking an extra material under here. Due to the card's effect, turn is skipped. Draws another Sky Bridge. That is not cool. We might not do lethal this way. Why does he have a response? That's weird. How much damage are we on? 5,500. That is not even close. We can make Ptolemaeus only. Summon Constellar Diamond. Why didn't I just summon it in main phase 2? I'm quite bad at this, as you can see, because no one understands this deck anyway. That is not lethal, but at least we have 2 forms of interaction. Actually, way more than 2. Set the remaining 2 cards, and our opponent gets to play the game. That is a mistake. It does smell like Orcists, and if that's the case, Constellar Diamond just killed their deck. They cannot send the cards from the deck to the graveyard, and we can negate 2 Dark Monsters effects. Revealing Light is not what I expected. Monster Reborn. He has to choose one of our monsters. M7 is the only one, and I would be glad if he do that so we can recycle it with Pleiades. Very cool animation though. Ooh, it's Dark Magician, 60 card Dark Magician, that's the first. If we improv here, that would be the circle gone with both effects. Shame that you put it in the wrong zone, my friend. Battle phase. I'll have my M7 back, thank you. That's it. Took me a little bit more than a turn skip, but that is all there is. If we didn't draw another Sky Bridge on the draw, if it's any level 4 monster, it would have worked, I think.